Hi, Spoiler Daily here. The movie opens in 1902 in South Africa. A man named Orlando, also known as the Duke of Oxford, goes with his wife Emily, their son Conrad, and their protector Shola to meet General Kitchener and Morton at a camp. While discussing their business, a sniper starts shooting at the soldiers. Emily tries to shield Conrad, but gets shot. Shola finds and kills the attacker. Orlando stays with Emily until she dies, and Conrad rushes to his mother. 12 years later, Orlando and Conrad return home. Orlando talks to the nanny, Polly Watkins, while Conrad trains with Shola. Later, Orlando takes Conrad to a tailor shop where he sometimes does business. Meanwhile, at a hidden place, Grigory Rasputin and other villains like Gavrilo Princip, Eric Jan Hanussen, Mata Hari, and Alfred Dupont meet their leader, the Shepherd. He gives them animal-themed rings and assigns tasks. When Rasputin complains, the Shepherd kills a goat to show his cruelty and sends Princip on a mission. Conrad and his father join a parade with Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife Sophie. Princip tries to assassinate the Archduke, but Conrad deflects the bomb with an umbrella. They try to escape, and Princip, feeling like a failure, plans to take his own life. However, he sees the Archduke's car heading towards a dead end, so he seizes the chance and shoots Ferdinand and Sophie, leading to their deaths and his arrest. After everything that happened, Orlando is worried because he thinks that countries in Europe will fight each other. He tells his son Conrad about three cousins, King George V, Kaiser Wilhelm, and Tsar Nicholas, who are now leaders of England, Germany, and Russia. These three have always had problems, but Orlando supports King George. Hanussen advises Wilhelm, while Rasputin is close to Nicholas and his family. Then World War I starts and causes a lot of damage in Europe for more than 2 years. The Shepherd, the leader of a group, is happy about their success, but he plans to make Russia leave the war so that Germany can focus on attacking England. The Shepherd is mad at England because he thinks they treated Scotland badly. Rasputin tricks Nicholas and his wife by giving their son Alexei a candy with poison. Then he uses his so-called holy powers to heal the boy. This makes Nicholas decide to keep Russia out of the war. Orlando and Kitchener don't agree on what they think about the war. Conrad wants to join the fight, but Orlando won't let him because he doesn't want him to get hurt. Later, on a ship, Kitchener feels sad about all the lives lost. But a submarine nearby shoots a missile at Kitchener's ship, and everyone on board dies. Orlando later gets a letter from Kitchener, who said he was sorry for their last meeting before he died. Orlando takes Conrad to meet Polly and Shola in their secret base. They plan to do something about the situation. Orlando tells them that he went to see Princip in his prison cell. He stopped 2 guards from hurting Princip, and then he got information from him. Orlando knows about the group of villains, and they want to go after Rasputin to stop him before he causes more trouble. Orlando also tells Conrad that he doesn't like violence, because even though he was good at fighting, he felt like it took away a big part of his soul. The group goes to Russia with a plan to make Rasputin eat a poisoned cake. They know he likes young men, so they use Conrad to get close to him. Orlando and Conrad sneak into a dinner hosted by Rasputin. But Rasputin finds Conrad boring and focuses on Orlando. He takes Orlando to his room, saying he can heal Orlando's injured leg. Rasputin licks Orlando's wound in a strange way and eats half of the cake, but then he vomits it out. Outside, Rasputin reveals he knew about the poison, as he takes a little every day to be immune. He tries to drown Orlando, but Conrad and Shola step in. There's a fight, and Orlando stabs Rasputin, dragging him to the lake to drown. Rasputin comes back for another attack, but Polly shoots him in the head, finally killing him. They return home on a train and celebrate Conrad's birthday. Conrad wants to keep fighting, but Orlando won't let him. Later, Polly intercepts a message revealing that Wilhelm's secretary is trying to make Germany team up with Mexico to attack the United States. President Woodrow Wilson is informed, but doesn't act without solid proof. Meanwhile, Conrad takes the place of a soldier, Archie Reed, on the front lines. Conrad fights with British and Scottish soldiers against the Germans. They are told to recover information from an injured informant's body on the battlefield. At night, Conrad and 5 others face the Germans quietly. They fight and nearly get killed by a big German with a hammer, but a British soldier saves them by shooting the German. In the morning, Conrad carries the injured informant across the battlefield. The Germans see them and start shooting, but the British army fights back. An explosion sends Conrad and the informant into the barracks, and the informant dies. Conrad gives the item the informant had to the general. However, when he says he's Archie, a soldier friend of Archie calls him a liar and thinks he's a spy. The soldier shoots Conrad in the head, killing him. Orlando learns about his son's death and goes into a deep sadness. He starts drinking and avoids help from Polly. But after talking to King George, Orlando decides to join Polly and Shola to complete the mission in Conrad's memory. The item Conrad found is proof of the telegram sent by Wilhelm's secretary. Orlando goes to the United States, where he discovers that Hari has already influenced Wilson and met with the ambassador. Orlando knows Hari is a villain, and she tries to attack him. Orlando stops her and strangles her with her scarf. He then talks to the ambassador and learns that Hari seduced Wilson, and they recorded it to blackmail the US and keep them out of the war. Orlando, Polly and Shola check out the villain's hideout before planning to attack. Polly keeps watch with her rifle, Shola goes to his post, and Orlando plans to parachute in. The plane's controls get stuck and it heads toward the ground. Orlando deploys his parachute but gets stuck halfway down a cliff. He climbs up using knives, almost getting knocked over by the shepherd's goat. Orlando grabs onto the goat's horn, pulls himself up, and pets the goat to show he means no harm. The shepherd sends DuPont to try and force Wilson to step down so they can control the next president. DuPont gets stuck in the elevator when a tough henchman stops it to fight Orlando, who has entered the barn. Orlando fights the henchman, Polly shoots at other henchmen, and Shola kills some men. Shola climbs the counterweight, cuts the rope, and sends DuPont falling to his death. Shola rises, beheads the henchman, and saves Orlando. They head to face the shepherd, who turns out to be Morton all along. Morton had been working against Kitchener and fired the missile that killed him. Orlando and Morton duel. Shola takes a bullet for Orlando, and they fight by the cliff. Morton almost kills Orlando, but the goat, whose horn Morton had earlier cut, impales Morton's leg. Orlando holds Morton over the edge, and despite Morton thinking Orlando won't drop him, Orlando proves him wrong, and Morton falls onto rocks. Orlando sends the video of Hari seducing Wilson to the president to push the US into the war. Speaking to King George, Orlando learns his cousin's fate's Wilhelm steps down, but Nicholas and his family are murdered. Orlando, Shola, Polly, King George, Archie, and the ambassador gather at the tailor shop, which Orlando bought for their undercover organization. Honoring Conrad's memory, Orlando gives them codenames from the Knights of the Round Table, something Conrad liked as a kid. Orlando is Arthur, Polly is Galahad, Archie is Lancelot, the ambassador is Bedivere, George is Percival, and Shola is Merlin. The Kingsman agency is born.